This is crazy. I'm a fucking broadcaster, nigga. I'm, I'm a fucking broadcaster. Yo, the set is leveling up. The set leveling up.
Nah, yeah,
We
we
almost
definitely
there.
getting there. Definitely
Yeah, we're
getting
moving
there.
the mic around, but fuck it. We fucking
How many
here.
episodes are we in now?
Number
Like
six.
five,
We are number six
six? Okay,
of the Rhythm and Rhymes
okay.
podcast. I'm your host, AJ Hughes, and I'm here with my co-host, Antonio Hughes. He's made it back. How was the trip?
It was good. It was good. I made a decision this week. I'm going to fam. Decided on that,
Let's fucking
and I'm
go.
going to FAMU. Yeah, we're lit. We'll turn me up, turn me
There you
up.
go.
But yeah, it was good, and I love the Bahamas. I'm always a big fan of the islands. Um, Hit a slot down there, so that's always good.
Did you hear
Yeah.
any music down there? Anything interesting?
I was actually down there like looking stuff up, trying to figure out if there was any like special like genre that they go with down there, but it sounded like they listened to a lot of like American pop and American R&B. Like the R&B was a heavy one that I was seeing a lot, and then some dance hall stuff. But I didn't hear nothing new down
Yeah.
there. Like honestly, even in the resort, it wasn't like how it is in Jamaica where they're just playing like Afro beats and playing dance hall. They're playing a lot of like Chris Brown, and I was hearing T Pain, and like it wasn't even no like island vibe to the music. Like
You're really not gonna hear that on
honestly,
the resort. On the resort, you're gonna hear like very general poppy music, like you said, because they don't know. Everybody's coming from everywhere, and a lot of the times they don't look or sound like us, and they don't listen to music by people.
but I feel like I mean, we were on a resort in Jamaica, and we were hearing mostly like Afro beats and like that style of music versus like maybe it's just different in the Bahamas
I think
specifically.
honestly, it just depends on who's there and like who's the DJ. I feel like we talked to the DJs and the people that was working there and stuff like that for a minute, and I feel like they realized that there was just a lot of black people at the pool when we were at the pool, so they just started playing more like island vibes, or they just have more freedom with that. So I feel like some of the resorts probably only allow like the playlist, like the top 40 American hits or something like that, and they just put that over the radio. So it's really hit or miss.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Well, that's good that you made a decision. I mean, uh, my decision was pretty straightforward, similar to yours. So it's good though. You like
Yeah.
FAMU, hopefully. We'll see.
No, I think I'll like it. It'll be good down there. It's just good to get to Florida. That's what I've been waiting on is to get to Florida.
Okay. Well, it's been a week since the Jack Harlow project came out, and you told me prior to it coming out that it was going to be good, and it was good in my opinion. But I wanted to see what you had to say about it.
I always feel like Jack Harlow's the shorter albums, the ones where it's like just him, no features, like they I really always like them. Like Sweet Action was the other one that came out that I really liked. That was like 7 songs, real quick, real straight to the point. And I feel like on those it's kind of like Russ's Chomp where he's just gonna sit there and bar you down for 8 songs, bar you down for 10 songs. And honestly, I really liked it. Like I was one of those people who said Jack Harlow's last project was good, and I still think it's good. Like, wait, no, not call Come Home, the Kids Miss You. The one right before it, his
The
second
one where
album,
he's in
I
the
thought that
the
was
one
really
where he's
good.
in the back seat with the
Yeah,
racially
yeah,
ambiguous
that,
woman.
yeah, that. I love that album. And I've still been rocking him even past that. Like his last album didn't get as much acclaim. People weren't messing with it, but I thought it was still a decent like outing. I hear a lot of bad music, and I didn't think that was. Hold on, what the? Sorry, I hear a lot of bad music. I didn't think that was bad music, so yeah, I've been messing with it. I've still been bumping it.
What's your favorite song on it?
Um, hmm, hmm. It's my favorite song on the Jack Harlow project. Mm, I'd probably say It Can't Be or Ambitious. Those are the two that I've been really bumping a lot, like been kind of on
The beat
repeat.
on Ambitious is crazy. The production, like it's a good project, but what stood out to me was the production. And
Yeah.
um, I think somebody sent me the first one. Oh, Derek. Derek Cheney sent me the first one, and he went to Oswego High School, so he grew up by us. And I thought it reminded me of home so much. That song reminded me of home, the intro, and he sent it to me and was like, "Yo, this sound like Oswego." I'm like, "It does. It really does." Like for him to acknowledge it, and that's what I thought was interesting. For him to acknowledge the suburbs in the way he did growing up in it, it shows that he's just paying attention. You know what I mean? Like he is
Yeah.
he is that, like we all know, maybe not a Jack Harlow that raps, but we all know a guy like Jack Harlow that went to school with us, you know? And
Right. Like the white kid that fits in with damn near everybody.
yeah.
Like yeah,
I
like
have some names, but I'm not gonna say them. But yeah, I know a couple of people
I
like
have a
that.
couple.
But I mean, yeah, it was a good project. Um, I'm glad that he's not allowing himself to fall into a box. You know what I mean? I think the days of
Yeah.
artists being successful that way is probably, I don't want to say it's gone, but it's not. It doesn't it doesn't behoove you to go try something else. Like if you do other things, you might as well try them because you might get fans for that, or you might get people to listen to it for that, or there might be a community out there that champions it. Like to just be a pop artist now is kind of stupid. I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I never really thought he would stay in that pop lane. Like, I hit a lot of his last album had a lot of those poppier songs, those songs you would hear trying to get to the radio. But I feel like from day one, I felt like Jack Harlow was like a rapper for like he really could go. And I feel like even from songs like Sundown or
But
River Road,
Sundown's like a
like
poppy song though.
I don't feel like it's a poppy song. I feel like it has a pop bounce to it, but he's still on there spinning. Like
And that's fit. I
I'm
mean,
trying to think of another
that's
one.
like you're correct. You're 100% correct that he is has been rapping from the get. I think what I'm saying is that it doesn't like it's not or, it's and. He's a rapper, he's an artist, he's a
Okay.
singer. You know what I'm saying? Like songs like that where he
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
hooks that are catchy, they're pop-esque, but he's still rapping on it. I think that's the appeal of an artist like a Russ. Like that's what makes his song so
Hmm.
good in that he understands the hook is what's going to get you. So he has good hooks, but then the verses are real verses. You know what I mean? And so I think rappers naturally either fall into one or the other. You know, like you think of like a G-Eazy, he goes a real pop route. You think of a Mac Miller, he goes the opposite route. So I think that there has been
Hmm.
like precedent set on what I guess path you go on, whether it's like pop or underground, but it doesn't have to be either. It doesn't. It's the only reason that it was either is because people were bad at marketing or people didn't understand marketing. It's just if I have to show you to an audience a specific way, it's like when they used to have like the quote unquote rapper fit. Like the quote unquote rapper fit is I have to put you in the chain, the glasses, and XYZ to make you appear to an audience as this thing. And it's like, no, if I do
Hmm.
this thing, you just have to find a creative way to market who I am through that. Don't give me a fucking chain. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's literally what Kanye was built on. Was
Yes.
I'm a backpacker
Right.
rapper. I'm gonna come up in my polos. And yeah, like
Right. And I
yeah,
guess
that's true.
the thing that I noticed, not even about just music, but marketing in general, is like when two ideas are opposing or juxtaposing, like it makes that thing more it makes that thing, I guess, more attractable or it stands out a little bit more, right? So Kanye coming with like he's like the juxtaposition of Kanye by being a backpacker, but also messing with like Hove and doing beats and soul samples for that type of like drug music. I think that's what made it interesting. You know, he was taking the world of like the
Hmm.
street with the world of like suburban America or whatever that thing was. Like growing up in church, you know, he grew up in a middle class environment. His mother was a teacher, so that's what made him interesting. And I think a lot of our favorite artists were the same way. We always know those two juxtaposing ideas were what made it interesting. So when people go to market it, it doesn't have to be one or the other. And I think I just think in terms of a business sense of putting the album out, it was just a smart move. It just makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it was. I think it was good, like in between, like a full project to like a little
Yeah.
mixtape to show he's still working on that side of it. You know.
Okay. Well, we'll see which songs end up like staying in rotation. Ambitious is probably going to be one of them for me, but I just wanted to get your
Yeah.
take on it because you weren't here when I did my little album breakdown. I don't know if you saw what I said on it. Did you see what
No, I gotta go watch
I
it.
was basically
I
saying,
didn't know.
I was saying listening to this album made me realize why hip hop stood apart from other, I don't want to say other genres, but what made it so distinct and why I think so many people gravitated to it was listening to this project odd enough. And it's just the thing about artists writing their own bars. Like that used to be something that people held like real dear to them. And it didn't really make any sense. Like it didn't make sense for a minute. I guess you get it's more respectable if you write your own content, but if you're like somebody like Drake and you can go get the best writers and you could deliver it better than anybody else and it's good music and I'm gonna listen to it, I don't really care. But listening to the Jack Harlow album, whether he wrote it or not, I realized when you're writing it, it's closer to I guess the truth or your authentic experience than if you have 17 people in the room and you know what I
Yeah.
mean, an individualized approach in that way. I don't think there's anything wrong with either approach, but I think that's what made it appealing to a lot of hip hop fans was you write your own raps. Like this is really my life. I'm really whatever these bars are is me. And so
Yeah. I think like the persona, like you said, around the rapper, it started off as like you gotta wear this chain, you gotta be this tough, hard dude, you gotta be this, you gotta be that. So it being like this raw form of music, I could totally see a bunch of people gravitating towards that. Like how I feel like somebody like Eminem even could show that because it's like you're really in the rawest form of this and you relate to all this big mass group of people that feel this type of way and this is just you for real. Like in a pop song in country songs, you're not gonna get just the artist most of the time. It wasn't just them. A lot of the times these artists are built like people like Elvis, people like Dolly Parton, people just pop artists and that those genres, those are like built. They're like
Motown,
created. They're not
Motown.
like
Well,
yeah, Motown.
Motown's an enigma because they had so many heavy hitters in the room that
Hmm.
Motown's great. I can go on forever about Motown, but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, I
Yeah,
think
that's all I'm saying.
I'll be interested to see where I think that's something we're going to talk about a lot on here is just where hip hop is going. Um,
Right.
I want to get into the IDK album, but I think I'm gonna save that because um, I have
Okay.
a decent amount to say on it. So, what else we got on this list? Won't He Do It by Conway. Have you listened to it or no?
I listened to a little bit of it. Kind of what I expected from Conway. Really gritty underground beats. I had a little moment on there where I was listening and I was like, is Conway or Benny better? Like I kind of still be sitting there back and forth between those two. Like I don't really take West Side as a rapper that much. Like he's an artist and he be focusing on the fashion and all that other stuff. But I feel like those two, it's like you can never really tell who's better between the two of them. Like they're really both good, but I was liking it so far. I like the song with Benny, and I liked there was a second or the third song in the album that I was really messing with.
Yeah, I heard there was a song on there. It was him and what's his guy named Jay Ski or something like that.
Yeah, J Ski. That the one with Ransom was good
Yeah,
too.
I heard
That
that
was
one
the
too.
other one
I
I was
heard
really
that. I
liking.
haven't heard the whole
Yeah.
project yet, but the singles that came off of it and that Ransom song,
Hmm.
I definitely liked. I'm definitely gonna give it a listen. I was listening to Conway's last project a couple weeks ago, and I was thinking the same thing. I think I don't know who's better. I don't know who's better. They're both great. They're both great at what they do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I feel like Conway definitely just he's higher with the output than Benny is. Like I feel like Benny takes more time in between projects. Conway just keeps releasing and it's like every couple of months you see a different Conway project.
yeah, I think that whole underground wave. Some of them stay, and that's I guess Benny just signed to he signed to Def Jam and he's with Rock Nation, so
Right.
he's going a more I don't want to say mainstream, but he's using more uh, traditional companies to do his music now as opposed to the underground independent thing. So it makes sense why he slowed down. But
Right.
uh, in the gym the other day, I was listening to Ransom. Which ones, bro? I was listening. It was that run of Director's Cut, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, I forgot how crazy those projects were. That it,
Nah, he's been putting out good stuff too. Past that, like his last couple of projects, like I'm trying to remember if that was the one with Rome Streets or if it was just him.
yeah.
That was real
Yeah, I
good.
haven't really listened to any projects since those. I think there was one where he had the game as a feature. I gave that one like one listen. It was okay,
Hmm.
but he has so many quotable bars on Director's Cut 1, 2, and 3. He has so many punchlines where I'm like, yo, he's rapping
Hmm.
better than like just rapping, like throw a beat on and rap. It's nuts.
Yeah, no, he's definitely one of those punchline kings. Like he's one of those people. I was sitting there like, could I use him for a caption? Like
Yeah.
I definitely had him for that.
Yeah, so I'll definitely check out won't he do it probably this week. We'll see. I'm
Hmm.
gonna get into IDK's album really quick. F65. This album is actually crazy, and I think it's important. I think we're gonna look back at IDK's F65 as one of those albums that sent hip hop in a direction that makes sense, or rap in a direction that makes sense. I think that first it's categorized as a jazz album, right? If you go to Apple Music and read the description and look at the category, it's a jazz album, which is really weird. I had to look up the definition of jazz. And the definition of jazz, let me find it and give it exactly to you. But it was basically the I guess the way I understood it is like how most things follow a pattern. It is like almost patternless. It is almost
Hmm.
patternless. You know what I mean? And it has a certain swing to it. And when I listen to the album, if you're listening to the album top to bottom, it's there is no one sound to it. Like one, you got a slow singing, a slow R&B type of vibe, and then you got an upbeat Afrobeat record, and then you got a dance record on there, which is Radioactive is kind of crazy. Radioactive is a crazy dance record. And when he was releasing a lot of these singles prior to the album, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. And I was
Hmm.
like, I don't know if I'm like this. But in the sequencing of the project, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. It's every tempo from slow to fast. And it just made me realize what hip hop used to be. Hip hop is a weird thing because it used to be a certain sound of like production and sonics paired with a type of delivery by the artist, right? And those things have sort of become separate of each other, where has sort of the production they don't take as much time with it, and they're not sampling like real music like soul records and uh, and actual instrumentation as much as like making beats on the computer and electronic stuff. And now
Right.
people are using rap over pop records, over rock records, you know what I mean? So there's different deliveries over different production. So what hip hop used to be, I guess, defined as is now different. So I guess rappers
Hmm.
are no like at this point you can be a rapper and not be hip hop. That is a
Right.
100% an option. And I think this album, he's rapping over so many different types of production that he is like almost breaking those. I don't want to call them chains. I don't like that analogy, but breaking the chains of this is how rap has to be in a way that I haven't really heard recently. I love it. I listened to it top to bottom one time, and I love it. There's not a song on there that I really dislike. There's a lot of interludes, so it makes for a good listen if you're gonna listen to the full thing. But I really like this project so much.
Yeah, I really gotta tap into it. I think I was getting kind of biased off the singles, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna really like it, but I definitely saw a lot more of the marketing, and it made me want to go check it out. Like, and I'm a big like I don't know, album covers really draw me in. Like, I feel like if you have an interesting cover to your project, it'll make me like be like, oh, what is this? Click on it, type thing.
Yeah,
So I definitely am gonna bump that on the way down to Champagne. But yeah,
yeah. I mean, I read you the feature list a little while ago. The Benny's on here. That song is good. Um, I thought Snoop Dogg was going to be on a song. It was just an interlude, him talking about Tupac.
hmm.
Um, Tay Ewar, that's the Afrobeat record. That one's dope. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm not mad at the Sauce of Santana feature. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I was walking into the Apple store to get that part today again, And I was kind of like, bottom of my mind, it's kind of a vibe. Okay. Oh, okay, it's kind of a vibe, bro. And I don't know if you'll ever catch me bumping that like out loud, but in the flow of the album, it's not bad. It's not bad. I ain't gonna lie. But
I'm gonna definitely have to tap into it. I wanted to listen to that album.
yeah,
I was kind of on that Conway one.
yeah. Just let me know what you think next week. But
Well,
other music that dropped, Lil Baby dropped "Go Hard." It was a single. I felt like I heard somebody say that Certified Lover Boy sounded like Drake doing a bad impression of himself. I think it might have been Rory or somebody. And that's
mhm.
what Lil Baby's last project sounded like to me. The one that just came out, it was him doing a bad impression of himself. And so, I mean, I was kind of disappointed with the project as a whole, but this single, I like it. It sounds like Old Baby, where it's just, I'm gonna throw a loop on there and I'm just gonna go crazy. The I was listening to Back On by Lil Baby. It
Yeah,
reminds me of that. It gave me that vibe, and I like this song. Maybe I was jaded from the last project, but this one was good to me. So if you have time to go check it
yeah.
out, did you hear it?
I heard
Yeah.
it. I'm pretty sure it was a leak before. Like I had heard that verse
Okay.
somewhere, but I did like the verse either way, and the song it had a bop. But I don't know. I thought Lil Baby's last project was okay. I didn't think it was like I didn't think it was too bad.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was decent. I definitely thought it was decent,
I
but
think
I don't
I don't
know.
know. We there was a time where people were saying Lil Baby was on a Lil Wayne run, and I agreed.
It looked
I
like it.
agreed, but the thing with that is I think Lil Wayne's bars year to year just get better because he has to get more creative, and he just had such a high output.
Yeah,
I don't think the bars got any better. I think it was like, you know what I mean? He could have recorded the second project at the same time of the first project and just put that shit out 3 years later, and I would not have been surprised. It was like the same. There was no progression at all. I think Lil Wayne has
that makes
bars
sense.
now. Lil Wayne still has a bar that makes you think like, yo, bro, what is this dude thinking? I didn't have any of that from Baby, so
I think people just use that as like the bar or the comparison when you're having like a bunch of good verses come out at one time. Like how people were saying that about the baby. Like even him, he put out a song today, wasn't good, wasn't messing with it. Sounded like the last 15, just wasn't there. But it was going crazy on TikTok, like
I don't know. The
mm,
Baby thing, the Little Baby thing is, I'm putting out a ton of music. It's going crazy. And then everybody's asking me for a feature, and I'm out rapping everybody on their songs. You know, J. Cole, I don't care. Bars. Drake, I don't care. Bar. Like he's whoever he's with is like, okay, this is different. I don't think the baby was having a run, but the baby's run was like it was all his music and it was just a sound in a moment. You know what I mean? That I wouldn't even equate those two in terms of the baby's run was definitely respectable. I'm not saying it wasn't. It was just he wasn't out rapping everybody on their shit.
yeah. Yeah, I think Lil Baby, like, there at least for a good like year, he was definitely doing that. Like, he was hopping on other people's
Yeah,
stuff, and it was like, this is his song now. Like, it was. I'm trying to remember. That was like right after his second project, I
yeah,
think. Like right after one with like Low Down and like
yeah,
that one,
yeah. Yeah.
that project. I can't remember what it's called.
So I hope,
My Moment or something. Yeah.
yeah. Hopefully he gives us a better project. I'm not. What's that Jay-Z quote? If you want my old shit, buy my old album. I'm gonna listen to the old album. I'm gonna go listen to the old album. So hopefully we get some good music. But if not, I'm not tripping. Um, and then I had two more
Yeah.
singles on here. Fireboy DML released a single called "Someone." It was a cool vibe. I think I listened to it one time a couple of days ago. I don't really remember. I didn't. I didn't dislike it enough to remember it. If that makes any sense. But
Right.
have you heard it?
I didn't hear.
Okay.
Did not hear
Okay,
that.
we're gonna have to check that.
Add that to the
Yeah, we'll
list.
come. We'll follow up on that next week. Um, and then the last single that interested me was "Sinner" by Ayanya. If I'm hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Ayanya and Benson. Benson, I come on here and talk about him every week. He's probably one of my favorite Afrobeats artists. And the thing I love about him is that he's very well rounded in terms of like he can rap really well and he can sing pretty well and he does good hooks. And I think this one He's more singing, and I think he does the hook on here. But this song is kind of crazy. So if you like Afro beats or you need something like a summer vibe, definitely go check this one out.
Love Buju.
Yep.
The guy's tough.
So you said you had new music that you wanted to talk about. What else did you have on here?
I only had two more. Gucci Mane dropped a song with Roddy Ricch and Nardo
I saw
Wick,
that. Was it
and
good?
yeah, honestly, when I saw it, the first thing I said was, "Why do people keep calling Roddy Ricch? He's not ready yet." Like I'm a Roddy Ricch fan. I was a big Roddy
He's
Ricch
not ready
fan
yet. What
for
does
that
that
first
mean?
project.
What does that
He's just
mean?
not ready. He needs he
He,
it's like he needs to go back to the drawing board and restart. Like he hasn't been putting out good verses, and when people have been calling him for features, his features haven't been good, his hooks have not been good. I
okay,
just feel like he needs to take a break. Yeah,
okay,
that's just
okay.
how I
But
feel about it.
listen. To say he's not ready yet, it's like, how do you get better other than go and make another song? That's the only thing you can do is go make another.
I just stopped. I had that feeling of like stop calling him for features,
Okay,
but that wasn't where I was going
okay.
with that. I'm just saying he's been putting out a lot of bad stuff, and his features have not been as good. I'm just saying. Um, okay, but either way, I like this verse. I really liked his verse on this song. I feel like he is getting a little better. Maybe he's getting his stride back, but if he's just catching his stride again. But I did really like this
Yo.
verse. I felt like he performed a lot better on it than a lot of the songs I've heard from him so far in recent times. I just maybe it's just a personal thing, but
No,
I
no,
like
no, no,
Roddy
no. It's
Ricch.
so funny because I was listening to the LMA album a couple weeks ago. The second I told people the second LMA album is way better than the first. She just had hits on the first, but there's a song that I love on the album called How, and I every time I listen to it, I send it to somebody else, and I'm like, if Roddy Ricch was not on this song, I said, I said, if Roddy Ricch was not on this song, I would not be mad. I wish there was a version of that song he wasn't on because the song is so
And
good.
no, and
He
that's the
comes in and fucks it up.
that's
He comes in and fucks it up. I was like, bro, we don't need you, but I know what you mean.
no that and that's what I'm saying. Like half the songs, I'm like, if he just wasn't on it, it's not like he's a bad rapper. He just doesn't need to be on this. Like his verse doesn't fit. Like it doesn't even go with the flow. So
Yeah, he
yeah.
be
But
coming.
other than that,
He fuck up the whole vibe. He fuck up the whole vibe. I'll be like,
there,
bro, she's singing
there's
so angelically, and you come on here high pitched.
uh,
Okay, let's stop. Let's stop. So it was a good song. I should go check it out. I saw it, but I didn't play it.
that yeah, that was a good song. I was messing with it. Other than that, I had a reggaeton album that I heard, kind of like an EP. A guy named Dale, Dalex. I didn't want to say his name wrong. Didn't want to get it wrong though. It's called Reggaeton Sex. I was messing with it. Had a good bop to it. That's always what it is for me. Like the production on the album is really good. He has some features on there that I had seen on other people's songs. Not really artists that I listen to personally, but his album was really good. I was messing with that, so go check that out. Reggaeton Sex, and then Brent Faiyaz and Marshmello put out a song. It was cool. It was all right. Marshmello is always pretty good with the getting rappers on kind of like the pop production. I feel like he's kind of been going in that direction as far as like the music he's making. He's not really trying to make like I don't even want to say traditional R&B because what's traditional R&B at this
Yeah,
point? But like I feel like he's been kind of going towards that pop lane
yeah,
in a way.
yeah. I mean, I feel like artists get so they're trying to get that quote unquote mainstream sound, which has been traditionally
Mm-hmm.
successful for so long. So I guess I get that. But I was trying to figure out where I seen this dude Dale. It said Dale. Is that how I pronounce?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dale. I think that's how
he
you
signed
say
to
it.
Rich Music, and
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Rich Music is Setch's label, and
Mm.
that was the label that I applied to be an intern. Y'all didn't y'all didn't want me, but it's fine. Uh, but yeah, that he did a lot of production on there. I think so. He was on a lot of the songs. I'm definitely gonna check this out though. Rich, every time Rich Music puts out a project together, it's kind of a vibe. I'm not gonna lie to you. The Academy is one that Karina put me onto way back in like probably what was that? That was 2021. That was early 2021, and so that project was really good. But I'm gonna definitely go listen to this one, and then I saw that Brent Faiyaz stuff. He put out a Chopped and Slopped album. Is it Chopped and Slopped or Shot? What is it? Chopped and what?
Chopped and slopped. He changes his. It's like chopped but not slopped. That's what he be calling it.
Yeah, he just put out the project Chopped Not Slopped. Yeah,
I don't know why he does
yeah,
that.
neither do
So,
I. But okay, I'll definitely go give those a listen.
uh,
I'm always looking for new reggaeton. I haven't heard a lot of new reggaeton in a minute. I just bought.
yeah,
Oh wait, I just bought my tickets to Afro Nation. I put in the media pass, but they told me that they won't let me know if I got the media pass until May 12th. And they said they were almost out of tickets. So I just put my deposit down on the ticket, and I'm gonna, if they give me a media pass, I'm gonna cancel the ticket. If they don't, I'm still gonna go and I'm gonna buy the ticket.
mhm.
So, but Setch performs there, and I've been waiting for new Setch music. I thought he's been alluding to it on social media, so I figured it would be coming soon, but not really anything. He dropped the EP last year, so I'll definitely give this a listen until that comes because I'm still waiting on that. I've been listening to Mike Towers though. That Mike Towers project was good that you were talking about.
Yeah, yeah. I've been steady bumping that. I think that's something that's really gonna stay in my rotation. Like, he's actually gonna be at Sueños, so I'm trying to go to Sueños on at least the
Oh
Sunday.
wait, do you need a
But
ticket? I
because
might
he
have a ticket for you actually. My friend was selling a ticket a couple days ago.
text me about that after, or oh, maybe I could try to get a media pass to that. Do you think I could get a media pass to that?
Potentially, you potentially could. You could, um, yeah, you could try and apply. Like we could look after this or online, and then if not, I could try and see if my friend still has that ticket. She put it up 2 days ago, so she should.
Okay, yeah, but
Okay, so
yeah, I want to go to that.
follow up music. I'll probably get into these two albums next week because I liked both of those, and then I want to talk about Daniel Caesar a little bit more um, next
Hmm.
week. But I wanted to talk about mainly the top one on the other topics: Missy Elliott, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I want to talk about this for a couple of reasons. First, I saw it on the Twitter timeline. I saw it on like my news feed on Google Chrome. I saw it on Instagram, and then mom also sent it to me and was like, "Yo, you should talk about this. She's the first black woman to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame." And you know, what my first thought was when I seen that and mom sent it to me. Why?
Why is she the first black woman?
Why do we fucking care who's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Missy Elliott has not rocked one roll, nigga. We don't care. We don't bro. I was thinking about this because I'm like, okay, if you go check into who's on the okay, one, she don't even make rock and roll music. So like when we put black people in it, why aren't these people in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Why do we care? Like they don't even make that type of music. And second, the people on the board of that thing are not the same people that listen to her music. So at this point, like, how are you even assessing or judging this? How many Missy Elliott records does the board really have they really listened to?
I mean, maybe it's more so just like because Jay Z's in there too, and I know some other rap artists are in there. Maybe it's more
I
so
don't
like
care.
I don't really take that as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's more so like a music Hall of Fame.
Then
Like
call it
Prince is in there. Like Prince doesn't make rock and roll music,
okay.
but I mean he kind of does. But Prince is like
Using traditional or mainstream uh, awards and media outlets to like to gauge what our impact is on the culture has been the worst measure of everything, right? You talk about the Grammys, you
that's
talk
true.
about like a double XL, you talk about like a source, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like these things have all been gauges for music in like they don't judge black music the way that they should. They never have, and they probably never will. And if they start doing it, that's not even the type of validation that we should be looking for. A couple years ago, people kept talking about we should champion the BET Awards. Nobody cares about, and like it's sad to say, but nobody even cares about BET for real. You know what I mean? That's not
They had to move it to strictly online because nobody cared about
right.
it. Like they moved it to like that's bad.
Right.
That's
So I
bad.
understand that we don't have real ways to gauge. Like there's certain like a hip hop. I think there's a hip hop museum in New York. I don't know if there's a hip hop hall of fame.
Hmm.
If not, there should be. You know what I mean? There should be a board of people who are actually respected in black music, talking about like gauging black music. Like why are we leaning on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to champion Missy Elliott? We shouldn't care. We should not care. And I understand that it's good. Like, if anybody's going to get in and if they're going to recognize anybody for anything, I'm glad they're recognizing Missy Elliott. I love Missy Elliott, but we shouldn't care.
Yeah, I think we just have to like come up with a better way to show our impact or a better way. Got to be more careful. If we got to get a better way to show our impact on the culture and what we've brought to music, because honestly, black music is music. Like if we're coming out to the what it is, like most music is derived from what we make, and that's just what it is. So I think things like the BET Awards and like when the Source Awards, I feel like something like that was really big in the 90s and the early 2000s before that was done. I feel like stuff like that is important, but it's like, do we have the dollars behind it? It's kind of like HBCUs. Like everybody says we should go to HBCUs. Everybody says that we should be putting money into the back into the black community, but do people do it? And do we have enough capital compared to the white people, the white shows to keep up? So
I guess I understand that. I don't know. I just think I agree with you, and I always wondered that question. A lot of these HBCUs are underfunded. A lot of black businesses don't have
mhm.
the like financial capacity to do these things, but it has to start somewhere, you know. I think the economics of just the black community is an interesting thing because I think about that Martin Luther King quote where he was like, "I led my people into a burning building." You've heard that one, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that is that build like is that move reparable? You know what I mean? Like his idea was to merge everything together instead of keeping it segregated. And when he realized that wasn't the path, is there ever I don't want to say is there ever. I think there is in terms of being if I'm being completely honest, but there is a world where we circulate our own dollar with our own people. I think it's coming. I think
Hmm.
it's slow for sure. Um, I told Dad that he said he doesn't think black people will ever get out of the place that they are. Shout out to you, Dad. But I said no, I don't fucking agree with you because
uh,
no, I said this, and he's saying this, and we say this in the span of our lives, right? He's been around longer than us, so he's seen the black community in terms of supporting black people, dealing with a lot of black businesses and stuff like that in a 50 to 60 year span. We've only seen it in a 22 year span. Bro, slavery was 400 fucking years. So to quantify anything based off of a metric of how old I am, how old he is, how old we go back 2 generations to even quantify it on that is fucking not insane, but it's not. It's kind of ignorant to how long it took. It took a
right.
really long time. And so I think that you have to at least give some time for it to happen. And it's probably not going to be anywhere near equitable, anywhere near equitable in the time that we're alive. You know what I mean? We can send it in a certain direction. We can make moves to push it that way, but to really see the gap shorten or change in any way, it's gonna take over 100 years. That's how it always works. I
Yeah.
don't like.
Yeah. And I feel like our generation, like, is one of the first generations to have the freedom to even think like this, to do the things that our parents wanted to do. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I feel like there was still a lot of restrictions, there was still a lot of barriers, and I mean, although there still is today, I feel like there's a way higher chance of you meeting somebody being a black billionaire, of you being able to put the black dollar back into your community, of you being able to start a strictly black owned business. I feel like that's more of a possibility than it ever has
Yeah.
been. So I think this is the generation where it starts, and I think, yeah, like you said, it's gonna take a while for it to really show.
Right, right. And I don't think it's sort of like that thing where they say if your head's pointed. I remember Dad used to say when we were playing basketball, if your head's pointed towards the ground, that's where you're gonna go. And I remember that's just how balance works, and that's just how focus works. I remember when we were in judo, it's like, yo, you keep your eyes where you want them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so if we're focused on all of the negative in the way that it won't get better, we just say it's not going to get better. You're right. It's definitely not going to get better. But if you at least have an idealistic point of view of potentially saying that it could get better, it might get better. It doesn't guarantee anything, but I think remaining positive and at least idealistic and things like that is important. You know what I mean? I think certain people are very nihilist in their point of view, and I don't I don't like look at them away. I understand why they feel that way. I think a lot of people feel that way, and I don't think there's not evidence against what they're saying. You know what I mean? I think we just have to look for the evidence. We have to look for evidence pointing in the other direction because it's either you think you're going to get better or you're not. If you don't, you're not. You know.
Right, right.
Well, that was a rabbit hole for Missy Elliott for sure. But I think, yo, fuck the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Fuck them. Fuck them.
I'm in agreement. Fuck them.
Okay.
Fuck
Ed
them.
Sheeran wins copyright versus the gays. This has been
Wait, he
he
won?
won.
I thought he
No,
lost.
no, no. They were saying that it was, and then he won the other day. I
Oh,
saw tweets from people saying,
that's
bro, there were
nice.
tweets of people saying that the bluff, like he was calling a bluff. He was like he's probably a top five streaming artist in the world, a top 10 or something. He's really one of the biggest artists in the world. And if he's saying I'm gonna quit music, he's a cash cow. You know how many people are making money off Ed Sheeran? So he probably said that, and then all those people went behind the scenes and was like, "Hey, the gays can't win this one," because I definitely don't think I don't where the copyright rules are so weird because I think you should credit to a certain extent, but when I haven't I'm not old enough to tell you what the musical inspirations of the people that played that song. Which Marvin Gaye song was that? I'm about to look it up real quick.
It wasn't Let's Get It On.
Yeah, it was.
It might have been Let's Get It On. It was?
I think it was.
It was Let's Get It On. Yeah, because it was down, 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 down.
Yeah, so it was "Thinking Out Loud"
You
by Ed
try.
Sheeran and "Let's Get It On" by Marvin
Mm-hmm.
Gaye, and they definitely
Yeah.
you could hear the inspiration in it, but to say that, I feel like it wouldn't be fair unless you went back to whatever writing camp or room or wherever they created Let's Get It On and go figure out what their musical inspirations were and what they were thinking about when they made Let's Get It On. Everything is inspired by something. Nothing is new under the sun. And while if you get
Right.
a direct sample or a direct like relationship or inspiration from one song and you make another, you should in some way uh, break it down with them, or you should in some way credit them or pay them. But there are certain extents where it's like, how do you quantify influence, or how do you quantify inspiration in that way? Because everybody's inspired by
I,
something.
I don't agree with that all the way just for this song specifically because literally one if you look up Let's Get It on Spotify Thinking Out Loud comes up. That's one. Two, I just feel like that just like the Robin Thicke song, those are like direct derivatives of these Marvin Gaye songs. You could say they're not, but you can literally put them side by side. It's the same, basically the same beat. They sound like um samples to me. Those two specifically sounded like they sampled those songs. I thought they had given them credit, at least Ed Sheeran, because of how close it is. I feel like it's written, maybe you could say it's inspiration, but it felt like a sample to me,
I'm
honestly.
not
Like
I'm
that's what
not
that
disagreeing with
song
that. I'm
sounded
not
like.
disagreeing with that. 100% they should
Mm-hmm.
have got credited. But I'm saying if that's the case, keep that same energy. Who the fuck did who produced it was probably the Funk Brothers who produced Let's Get It On. Let me look it up. But whoever they were listening to on the way to the studio that day, because there's probably a song I'm saying there's probably a song prior to Let's Get It On that has a similar feel to that.
Okay,
And I'm saying if that's the case,
that makes
how
sense.
like maybe we're just at the point where the gays fell into the right place, right time thing where they had a catalog of music that was diverse enough in a moment in time where you could enforce copyright. Like you can enforce copyright today,
Hmm.
you can enforce copyright 10 years ago. So it makes sense for them to go after it. But I'm saying that somebody in when did that song come out? Let me get some more information.
You're saying like it's hard. Like, where's the bar at that point?
Where does it
Because
end? It came out in
yeah,
1973,
yeah,
right? So if it came out in 1973, who's not to say that there's something in 1961 that influenced that? We don't know.
okay,
Nobody has
yeah,
the wherewithal to go check. You know what I mean? And I think if like it gets so confusing at that point because if you think about wait, do you can you hear me?
yeah. Okay,
Can you see me?
yeah, I can see. Can you not see yourself or something?
No, you recording continues to live. Oh, okay, no, we're good. Your video just cut out for a second, but as long as you can hear me, it's fine.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just saying,
Yeah,
no,
okay.
we're good. So I'm just saying that I guess yes, the gays should be some way paid, but at the same time, it's not even like Marvin Gaye didn't produce the song by himself, I don't think. And so I just think there's so many people to credit for something to get made that it just gets confusing as to where that starts and where it doesn't.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess it is kind of hard to quantify that with every song too, because most things are a derivative of something else. Like especially with music now, like it's a lot of just derivatives
Right.
of old stuff. So I feel like it's kind of hard to, like you said, when does it end? Like,
Yeah.
what's the
I
extent?
think I mean the gays are getting to the bag, which is dope. I don't think
No, they're robbing people, bro. They're the mafia. Like
100%.
every time they hear something sounds a little bit like Marvin, they coming for
I
it.
I
Like every
I'd
time.
want to look to see who is in charge of the Marvin Gaye estate because it's not Marvin. It's probably not his dad. Hopefully not.
It's definitely not his. I think his dad went to jail because his dad was the one who killed
Yeah,
him.
that's what I'm saying. It's definitely not him. But I wonder who's in charge.
Oh yeah.
Who's in charge of the estate? It's like who's in charge of the Michael Jackson estate? And I just saw that Sony was buying. Yo, Sony out here getting to the bag. Sony was supposed to buy back Michael Jackson's whatever equity that Michael Jackson's estate has in Michael Jackson's music. They were gonna buy it, and it was worth like 900 million or something crazy like that.
Didn't his family sell it though?
Oh, they already sold it.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. His family was the one selling it.
I
That's what I was asking. Not if they sold it
Oh yeah,
already.
yeah, they might have sold it already. I gotta double check that. But I saw something in the news about that the other day, and that combined with Sony just be going after people's masters and publishing, like just want to own everything. Like I told you, well, last week I talked about how they're buying into Bad Bunny's label, um, this year, or they're trying to. So I don't know.
Marvin Gaye's kids own his estate, by the way.
Okay,
It's split three ways between them, but they don't get any performance rights. So,
they don't get any. Oh yeah, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, I'm not mad at
mhm,
it. I'm not mad at it. All right.
yeah.
Well, the last thing I wanted to talk about was this advertising article I read on Music Business Worldwide. Shout out Music Business Worldwide. I get a lot of articles from over there. But it was essentially somebody writing about, I'll give this person credit, David Turner. David Turner was writing about the advertising models of streaming platforms and how over a period of time they just sort of break down and they don't seem to be working in the way that people initially thought they were. Last week I talked about how Spotify has never had a profitable year, period, ever. They started in 2006, never had a profitable year. And essentially saying that the cost of advertising versus the cost of like content and how many because the thought is you have the free and the premium model. And so essentially you putting out tons of free content with ads in it is supposed to be the lead in to getting people to buy the service, right? So like you think about Spotify free and Spotify premium, you know, and basically saying that the free model you'll get enough advertising dollars to cover whatever you're spending in content and in overhead and in all that other stuff, and eventually get them to pay a monthly. And what this article is basically going on and talking about was how a lot of the biggest streamers in the world, outside of Spotify and other places like India and things like that, how they are also losing money. Like nobody's ever breaking that profit. It's just not happening. And so other businesses that were successful in terms or have had healthier financials have just cut the free model completely. They basically just got rid of the free model. It's like either pay or you don't. And this is interesting for a couple reasons, but I think the thing that because we're building a business here, right? Like this is going to be a business. This is a music
Right.
business, right? I think we traditionally growing up, the thought like when I was thinking about getting into the music business and applying for jobs, you think of the music business as the business of just selling music. You know what I mean? The labels own XYZ, they're paying the artist. This is the music business. The artist go do XYZ. But in the real grand scheme of things, the music business or the music, I guess we're talking about the music industry, right? Like all the supplementary things around the music itself is the valuable thing. Like the music is what gets people there, and all the supplementary stuff is what makes you wealthy or rich or makes you profitable, right?
Mm.
Like Diddy didn't make $1 billion off the music; he made $1 million off alcohol. Well, he made a large portion of his money off alcohol and media. You know what I'm saying? Selling the hip hop and selling
Right.
stuff in media, and then also selling the alcohol because it went with the image. You know, Jay Z made his money in alcohol. Jay Z made his money in sports and entertainment and stuff like that. And I think seeing the streaming model not work out like that is just it's almost an assurance that it's unless you just own the unless you just own the music like a label where you're just getting in residuals from people listening to it, your business model has to be your business model has to be unique and has to sell something outside of the music or in addition to the music. It can't just be the music because it's not sustainable.
Yeah, I think that's something with Spotify. Like, there's no incentive to it, and I think people are often looking for an incentive when they're putting their money into something, like, or even seeing it as an investment. And I feel like, what are you really investing into with Spotify?
Yeah.
So, I could see how people wouldn't want to, pay for that. How they would lose profit on that side, and I think they're going to have to move to that model where it's pay or don't because like I think that free model doesn't really work. Like it's just
Yeah.
it loses you a lot of money on the back end.
Yeah. I read an article. I'm referring to last stuff from last week, but I just wanted to talk to you about some of these things. I read an article last week about how I think it was an opinion piece. So I don't think anybody at Spotify verbatim came out and said that they needed to target um, baby boomers as the next demographic of
Hmm.
people that like download the app and pay. But basically, the thought is because America has the most purchasing power of any other country, most of your top demographics are going to come from America or like Europe, like the West. And so they're trying to squeeze that lemon for as many people as possible because they can pay the most. And pay rates are different in other places. Like Spotify, I read something that like for one listener in America, it's equivalent to like 6 listens in Nigeria or something like that. Because because when the way advertising works is like they pay per X amount of listeners. So like let's say it's 1,000 listeners in America, and they gauge that number off of the purchasing power of the people that are listening, right? Like you could buy something you're more likely to buy a product being advertised to you on Spotify than somebody in Nigeria. So they equate X amount of people in Nigeria because of their purchasing power with what you have. And so when
Right.
I think about like
That's interesting.
yeah, I mean I have a video coming out pretty soon about the almost cultural ignorance that comes with a company. Not I'm not singling out Spotify, but a lot of these Western countries don't understand other parts of the world deep enough to really like maximize profits in those areas. Like I talk about all the time how when I click Brazilian funk on fucking Spotify, I should not see Burna Boy. This makes no sense. I should not see Skilly Bang in the Afrobeat section when I click the app. You know what I mean? Like these little nuances that are like confusing the listener or not coming across in the design of the app are honest, not costing them, they're costing them money in a way. You know what I mean? If you don't understand those things, potential customers aren't going to be able to use your product effectively. And I think as a business, and if you're on a mass scale like this, where you're trying to service millions of people, the only way to grow, the only way to make this make sense is to have a huge consumer base. You can't just like target these same people over and over again because eventually, like I said, your costs are rising while your like premium tier is almost leveling out. So you have to go get more customers, and the only way to do that is to go out abroad. Almost like that's what they were saying. Most 85 to 89% of people our age and the generation above us were using some type of online streaming audio, and so they're like, we have to go get older people. It's like, no, you can stay in this demographic. You just have to go to a different place, and you have to just target it. I don't know. I just thought this was interesting, just because we're building a music business, and I think this stuff is important to look at when you're trying to understand how to make money in this industry.
Yeah. I definitely think they're gonna have to change up marketing, but like I feel like America, especially, just one of those places where people don't see stuff that's not right in front of their face.
Yeah,
Like they're not really interested in what's not around them. Like people just have location bias. I feel like when it comes to news, music, all that, even the companies that are supposed to be trying to make money in multiple different areas make money everywhere. They're missing out on a lot of it just by missing out on
right,
marketing, like not marketing to everybody, only marketing to us.
right. Alex Ramosi had a clip the other day where he said, if you want to sell more stuff to different types of people, just have somebody else say it, right? And I think the appeal, one of the appeals of his company is that he's a co-CEO with his wife, and his wife echoes a lot of the sentiments that he does, or vice versa. He echoes a lot of the sentiments that
Mm-hmm.
she does, and so a demographic of people that might stop and watch Alex Hormozy might not stop and watch his wife, and vice versa. So if you are culturally nuanced to understand that enough, you just go get the people in that area to talk to those people to say the same thing because they're more likely to listen to you in
Mm-hmm.
that area because you're from there. And I think that goes over a lot of people's heads. People see that as, no, like I'm putting out a good message and you should just listen to what I say. But you're just going to be more likely to tune into what specific type of people say. That's how psychology works. And so I think
Yeah.
that as a business, it would behoove them to not go and try and find somebody to help them with more areas that they're not as familiar in. But we'll get into that later.
Yeah. Yeah.
What you got planned for this weekend, though?
Going to see Shrey because it's his birthday tomorrow. So his girl was trying to get us, some of the guys to come out there, and then I had to pay like all my deposits, like my admission deposit, my housing deposit. I had to do all that stuff. Some homework, and I'm really just finishing up for finals. I low key got to go pick up my cap and gown. I forgot about that, but yeah, I'm really just getting ready for graduation, getting ready to finish community college. But
That's dope.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's what the
summertime
weekend's gonna
coming
be. Yeah.
soon, bro. I was talking to Colton earlier today, and he was saying that he wanted to come. He wanted to go to Miami, but he was like, we should just do like a road trip. You come to Jax and go to Miami. And I was like, yo, Tony was talking about at some point us going to Miami. So we gotta figure that out because if we just like both of y'all fly
Yeah.
in on a weekend, we go down for a couple of days, we come back, y'all go back. That'd be pretty smooth.
Yeah, I'll definitely look at my schedule, let you know what looks good for me. And you went out, so that looks like the end of the podcast. Thank you for coming to the R&R
We're
podcast
out of
this week.
here.
We will be back next week. Love,
See ya. Oh yeah,
subscribe for more.
subscribe. The socials will be on the end. You know we upgrading. It's getting better. So.
At least it was at the end, not the beginning.
Right.
All right.
All right.